Hello, my beautiful friends. So, somebody made a comment on my last video, which was setting intention for the sister collective, which was amazing, by the way. Um, so much love to my sisters. I don't know how to do the hard thing. Such a boomer Gen Xer. But that was very specific to that situation. And I don't know if it was a shit post or whatever, but the person commented and said, like, I didn't know what you were doing and you're starting and stopping. And I thought there was some truth to that because I was very wrapped up in the intention of what I was getting ready for. So this is actually a how to set your space and intention. So the very first thing that you want to do is you want to gather together the things that are meaningful to you. There is no right or wrong way to set your space. Whatever resonates with you is correct. Now, I don't know about different traditions, witchcraft traditions, Wiccan traditions, other religious traditions. Like, I do my own brand of Celtic spirituality. So this all is what resonates with me. You should do what resonates with you. And I will say, like, you try new things and some things really resonate with you and some things don't. The things that resonate with me, I either use incense, which I'll probably use today, or I use this, what we used to call a smudging stick. I'm very tied to not appropriating other people's language, so I just call this a smoke stick now. Smudging is Indigenous American people, and I want to be respectful of their traditions, so I just call this smoking. So I'll either smoke my area or I'll use incense. Today I'm going to use incense. No real reason why. Just today I prefer it. I have new incense that I really like the smell of. So I just like the space. And what we're doing here is we're creating an intentional space, right? That's what we're doing. We're creating intention. And you don't have to do it, right? You can journal, you can read your cards, you can read your rune stones, you can do your magical crafting. You can do anything you want with or without this particular practice. All this really does is set for you the space in your head, the intention in your heart, that now I'm going to spend time working on this magical thing or this spiritual thing or whatever. So there is no right or wrong, and you don't have to do it at all. You don't have to spend a lot of money. I can't find a lighter. Hold on a second. I'm like looking for lighters here. Imagine here's a lighter. I knew it would be somewhere. So there's no right or wrong answer. There's no, you're not doing it wrong. If it means something to you and it helps you to create your space, that's great. And we create this space so that it's different from regular space, right? We want to differentiate. I'm like right now, I'm getting ready to write in my journal. So this is my journal space. But I do this before I do make infused honey or before I make fire cider. I try to do an intention, just setting the space, candles, music. I try to engage all of my senses. So we're going to do that with this, with lighting the incense. Now, in different traditions, it matters which way you like go around yourself and all that. I don't follow those traditions, so I don't know. So if that's important to you, definitely look it up, because there is a way that people recommend that you do this. My spirit guides know that I'm just a hot mess mama and they're less concerned. They're just happy I do it. So I kind of like use my incense and I just dabble it around my space, and I go over my cameras and I go over my candles and I go over my cards, go over myself, I go over my space. I go both ways to make it right. I'm not, because, Spirit knows I don't know. And then I just stick it in this holder. I'm going to move that off to the side because otherwise it'll be right in my eyes. So I'm going to move this. But that's my little holder. I got that at the dollar store. I have fancier ones, but I got that at the dollar store. It works. The ashes actually fall into it, which is, if you use stick incense, that's like, it gets everywhere. So the second thing I do is I light a candle. And you can dress candles. I understand in different traditions, you can dress a candle with oils and different herbs and things like that with intention. So I don't know a whole lot about that. I'm learning from my friends. And it's always so beautiful how they do it, and they put a sigil in it and all this stuff. That looks amazing. I just light a candle. The one I'm using right now is from my Wee box. It smells so good, and you should sniff it. There was smell-o-vision. And I just light that candle to remember, like, to that this is sacred space, that the work that I'm going to do right now is sacred, and I want to make sure that I'm aware of it. And looking at the candle reminds me of that. It also reminds me of special intentions that I have. Right now, I have special intentions for my cousin Eric, who's getting better every day, thanks to the army of prayers, chants, and good wishes. My neighbor across the street, Susan, lost her husband last week, and my colleague Kathy, who lost her daughter last week as well. I just think about those intentions specifically and just remind myself that I'm in sacred space. And if you're religious, they do that at the beginning of a Christian service. Somebody comes and lights the candles, the altar kids come and do that. It's the same thing, right? So it's just like we are now in the presence of sacredness, and it could be your inner sacredness or whatever. I try to have all of my things around me that I want to use. And so I make my cup of tea. I have my cards right here by my side. I have my journal right next to me so that I don't have to keep getting up and down. Like once I'm in my sacred space, I'm here and I want to do my work right now. So I'm going to pull runes for my journaling. And, I use this set of runes. I have a lot of different sets of runes. Runes are really the thing that I do the most. I like oracle cards, but I don't always feel drawn to read them. I always feel drawn to the runes, and I think historically it's both a Celtic, and if you know anything, like they're Germanic, so they come from both sides of my family, the reading of runes. So and then I have these special stones that I like. So that has a face. I don't know if you can see it because it's really, really etched in there, and it really just depends how the light catches it. But it's a Green Man stone, and the face of Green Man is in there, and I'm very tied to nature. And I have 2 stones from Iona that I intentionally use. This is one that I picked off the beach, and then there was one I bought in the store to support the local economy. And then I have a stone from Iceland that was brought back to me as a gift. So one I bought, one I picked, and one that was gifted. This is from Iceland. And so what I'll do now is I'm just asking Spirit for 1 stone right now. We'll call a 1 pull. I could also do a 3 Norns, or I could do a Celtic cross. I could also do rune casting. I like the 1 pull for writing because I think it gives me a real nice focus. And so in my space, I make sure that this is clean. I could use a cloth, an altar cloth, if I wanted to. I have my runes with me all the time, so I typically don't. I don't use an altar cloth, but I have them, and I could. And now I just pick a stone. Interesting. So this is Ehwaz. I keep getting Ehwaz and Manus, and that's interesting. So I will set my stone here. When I pull runes when I'm not on YouTube. I pull runes all the time. But now what I do is I just sit in my space and I think about the rune. Even though I've been reading runes a long time, I still look up their meaning, just in case anything pops out to me from Spirit. It's helpful to have the candle and the incense here, because now my senses are engaged. One thing that I typically don't do a lot on YouTube, but I do when I'm doing this myself, not on YouTube, is I'm listening to music. And I often listen to Tim Janis, other, playlists, Dark Academia playlists, stuff like that, instrumental music, just to, highlight, my audio. I find that when I do it on YouTube, sometimes it's too loud and then you can't hear me. But I will do that when I'm just doing this privately. So let me pause and just consider the stones for a minute, and I will the stone a minute, and I'll be right back. So Ehwaz is a stone all about movement. So it's spiritual movement as opposed to Rado, which is the wagon wheel, which could mean spiritual movement, but mostly means like physical travel, like the Conestoga wagon or whatever. Ehwaz is really more about progress and trusting the spiritual changes that are coming. And it's funny because I don't believe in New Year's resolutions, but I believe in dreaming. And my dream, which when we get to Imbolc, we can, now things are lining up so that we can make intentions. It's really to I really feel passionate after having met these lovely women that I was with last night, really supporting the growing grassroots community of spiritual practitioners, and that includes pagans, Christians, non-Christians, Jewish people, Wiccans, like everybody. Because I watch more YouTube than I ever have before, and that was because I was, if you followed along in the channel, I fell down a mountain, and I was in a foot cast for a long time, so I kind of got into this as part of that. It was always kind of in me, but I've always been, because I was so religious, I was going to be an Anglican nun. When I was younger, I was very tied to the church. I always had this sort of guilt complex about being a Christian who's into this spiritual stuff. That year in the boot, like Spirit literally had to throw me down a mountain so that I would sit and with myself and be like, you know what? I don't need to worry about what people think. Like, I don't, I have a relationship with my Lord and Savior. I don't need to explain it to anybody else in the church. Because it's funny, like Druids don't like me either. Because some Druids think you can't be Christian and a Druid, which is hogwash, because Druids are Druidry is philosophical. There are religious Druids, but there are also philosophical Druids. But really, the haters really come out of the Christian movement. Like, you can't believe that. That's all evil. That's all Satan's work. No, it's not. And then you have really you have people who have huge followings. I can't remember her name, the one that who had the tarot cards. And then this other woman recently, who've converted to Christianity and threw away all of their decks and burned them. And it's like, it's all about intention, right? What are you intending to do with the cards? What are you intending to do with your stones? Like, my intention is always to bring light and love into the world, which is exactly what I believe Jesus Christ was here to do. So there's no conflict of interest there. So I find, so I watch these channels. I watched these channels while I was, in my stupid boot. And there's two kinds. There are the hyped up, like I was asking one of the women lives near Sonoma, and I always see it. I like to go on retreats. I'm a retreat kind of girl. I like that kind of thing. I think because I worked at a Girl Scout camp for 2 years, I like camp. I go to bagpipe camp every year. I like being with people in space, and I've seen like these videos of people who do these little camps, and I'm like, I want to do one of those. And so I think our witchy sisters are going to do one of those. But I always think to myself, I maybe I should go out to Sonoma, right? I'm fortunate, I'm blessed. I could go out and do one of those. They're outrageously expensive, and I think that's nonsense. But then I look more into them, and it just seems like a whole lot of bullshit. It seems like a whole lot of like, well, if you pay us $7,000, you too can be spiritual. No. And YouTube channels remind me of that. There's like two kinds. There's the authentic people that you really feel like when you're connected to them, like this is an authentic person, who's really, going through their practice and what they, enjoy talking about and what they enjoy. We have crafters and we have readers and we have all sorts of things. And then there are channels that are just hyped up, and it's really all about the views and it's all about the merchandise. And if you pay $49.99, you too can be spiritual. I don't like that. I love our group that we have because I feel like every single woman in it, even those with bigger channels, are so authentic, so real. And so I really feel like I'm on this mission to go find small channels and promote them, and just get more views out to authentic people who really are about sharing light and love. And so it's no surprise to me that this is my stone today, because it's just saying, like, trust the process. Trust the movement. It's a good path to follow, to help others. My channel is really small, but I don't make my income from this, right? I don't take any money. I'm not gifted any of the boxes I get. Fortunately, I'm so blessed that I have a job that I enjoy tremendously, and I don't need this for the money that comes in through Venmo. Some people do choose to donate to Venmo, and that's always very kind. That goes back out to charity work. I support a few different Native American schools. I support a lot of different things, Red Cross, Girl Scouts, you name it, I support it. Meals for the homeless. I support international groups. So the money that comes in through donation goes out to donation. Because I'm very fortunate, but I might not always be. And I don't have a problem with people using this platform as a career. I know a lot of folks do, and they have their little, side projects or Etsy or whatever it is they do. That's awesome. I'm very fortunate that that's not my goal here, so I don't need to do that. So what I do is completely free of that. But I absolutely support, people who are using this platform to generate their income, because I think it's an awesome opportunity, especially for folks who may have anxiety and can't go out physically to work in physical space. This is a safer space for them. So I think Spirit is just reminding me that I'm on the right path, and this is what I'm meant to do. Help be a bridge between Christianity and the outer faiths. Not main religion, but other, helping Christians understand, and also helping others understand that not all Christians are out here trying to hang witches or stone them. Because truthfully, had I lived in Salem, it'd have stoned me too. So it's amazing listening to everybody's beliefs and their practices and learning the different things they do. And I always love the little tips. Like Hesha has these tips for showering, and I'm amused because I'm like, oh, I'm going to need way more buckets of salt. She's using like a quarter cup. I'm going to need a vat of that. A whiskey cask. All right, Spirit, any cards to go with this particular stone? One flipped out, but in the middle here. Hold on. We have sacred waters, deep healings, emotions, and pilgrimage. So that's about thinking about, the deep, like the pilgrimage of our sisterhood retreat. I'm so excited about that. I have people coming in the door, so I'm going to have to leave it at this. To take care of my space, to end it, I just blow out the candle and extinguish the thing. I am wishing you all the best of light and love. Be well. Take care. Bye-bye.